What's up, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Chromecast. My name's Joe, joined here today by Robbie.
Hey, what's up?
Gabriel.
Hello.
Andy Cam over there.
Hey, guys.
We got Paul and Dan here. A couple quick things before we hop into some news from the week. We got some fun gaming stuff to talk about. And, well,
some not so fun
maybe
gaming.
not so fun.
We've got
stuff.
gaming stuff.
We have gaming things to talk
Game
about.
Unboxed today. Yeah,
And some Pixel tablet, some Pixel watch. Next week, we got to figure out how we're going to do our podcast next week. Next week, we're going to be in New York.
We may just be taking a week off.
Yeah.
Or recording on our phones or something.
Yeah.
When will you be back?
I won't be back until probably Sunday.
I would love to do just maybe like we take the blue microphone or something, or just honestly do it on our phones and just do a like raw reaction to the event.
Yeah.
And we can do, when we come back, I'll do the intro and everything here.
Yep.
And then we can just kind of have, all right, hey, look, this is raw. We were at the event. We just wanted to capture our reactions to everything and just do that.
Yeah, because we'll be back in time for lunch on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Gabe will.
I'll be back in Orlando.
Robbie's going from vacation in Florida to New York.
Yep.
Back to vacation for a day to drive home.
Yeah. Can't leave my
Well, I
wife.
guess technically we could have.
Just drive home by herself.
Yeah, that wasn't gonna
But yeah, we might stop on the way home from Florida to, I don't know. We've talked about if we feel up for it, maybe stopping and taking the kids to the aquarium downtown Atlanta, which is pretty awesome.
You have to go to that restaurant that we went to. It's so amazing.
Oh, my kids would be like, "Oh, do you have chicken fingers?"
Hey, she likes the dragon roll, right?
She does, yeah.
Really
Do
good
they
sushi.
have chicken? I want some chicken.
They have
thingies.
chicken on a stick. Does that work?
And mac and cheese.
With the chicken strips.
Nope, they didn't have any of that.
strips.
No mac and cheese, no hot dogs, no hat dags, no nothing.
No dags.
Yeah, my daughter can.
No dags for Drew.
She'll get into some of the Asian cuisine, but my son.
Hey, go to On the Border. We went there the first night we were
That'd be
there.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, that might be
that
cool.
It was
Yeah.
good. It was right next door to the hotel we stayed at. It was delicious.
Was it downtown?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Well, there you go. There you have your plans.
No,
set.
I'm sorry. It was north.
But I particularly would rather just drive home.
Yeah. Well,
It's
we'll
a long
see.
drive, but
It's gonna be.
I'll be ready to be home.
It's going to be an eventful trip for you.
Yeah.
But we're excited to be in person with Google for the first time in a while, and reporting on everything that gets announced next week. So, particularly excited about the watch. The phones obviously are going to be dope.
Yeah.
And so stay tuned for that. We will figure out what we're going to do and probably just post on Twitter if something changes and we're not going to podcast, or if we don't have time to podcast or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we do it, we're just going to have to be simple. It's not going to sound like this.
No.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
won't.
our first podcast was, what did we use at Mountain View?
Lapel mics.
Oh, we did
Did we use
lapels.
lapel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which we could maybe do for this one. That would sound a
Yeah.
little better than just recording on a phone.
Into phones. We did them into phones, though, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we each recorded into our
Yeah.
phones.
Yep.
That was crazy.
Yeah. That the podcast was really started. That was one of
Google.
At Google.
That was our
Yeah.
first our big one back. Like we had done a couple random episodes here and there, and then
No, I think that was our first
that was
one.
the first one.
We did that and a few
Dang.
more after it, and then we took a break, and then we
Yeah.
When
started
we-
in earnest.
When we decided to go full time with this, that's when we
Yep.
really got back into it.
Because we like
We've
doing
been-
this. We
Yeah.
just like-
Podcasting
we like
is so much
talking.
fun. It's fun. So yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll let you all know on Twitter. But yeah, maybe it'll just be like kind of a raw episode, and it might get posted on Saturday instead of Friday. But I don't think anybody really cares.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all have Pixels. We could use the Pixel Recorder app and
Boom.
each have our phone right in front of us. And that way we have some redundancy. But also, when you're pretty close to these phones, like we figured out with a short video the other day, the mics on these Pixel 6s are
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like
fantastic.
I mean, it's sound. And granted, like we're in a room that has a little bit of treatment in here, but you were kind of close to the phone, which
That's
is
what
nice.
I'm saying. Like if we all set
But
our things
man,
up to podcast and we're
just
sitting around a table or something and have our phone right
in front
next
of
to
us. Yep.
and then we have all those
Like
tracks.
it sounded like it sounded like you were mic'd.
Yeah.
Like,
mean,
it sounded really
Can
nice.
you
very
record to the Pixel recording app with Bluetooth stuff?
Yeah.
Headphones?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Bluetooth headphones are pretty bad. The sound, like they're all
Compared to-
they're meant to take phone calls, and so like compared to the mic on here, it would
Yeah.
sound would sound way better to be on just the phone itself.
Yeah. But
it's gonna, I mean, you're gonna pick up room noise and stuff like that. But
totally,
it is what it is.
Totally is what it is. Okay, two kind of quick housekeeping things before we do hop into some of the news. First thing, we have revamped our Patreon. So we had started Patreon 2 years ago, about 2 years ago. This time, 2 years ago, was it? When did we first launch it? September? I think it was September of 20. I don't know. It was in my notes over there.
Sounds right. I think so.
So we had done the format that we had for a couple years. Like we had had multiple tiers. We had our top tier of Canary Crew folks that were supporting us, and some of those folks had joined at the very beginning and had supported us this whole time. So huge shout out to those folks.
Yeah.
I mean, the Canary Crew and everybody for supporting us. But as it's evolved, we wanted to make sure that what we were doing was sustainable long term, and make sure that we were like able to do what we say we're going to do, basically.
That's what it really comes down to.
And it's tough when you're trying to focus on, because at the end of the day, the number one thing that we want to do is write really great articles and make really good YouTube videos for everybody that are free for anybody to go watch and read,
Yeah.
And so then we got into this weird situation where it's like, well, we're doing this other stuff that is going exclusive content that, but why didn't we just put that out to everyone maybe? And so it was this kind of weird thing with that, but then also just time and effort. And, we would rather focus more of our energy on the kind of the core content, and still do some fun stuff through Patreon, through Discord mainly, and still share some little random stuff that we wouldn't maybe put on social, but leaning a little bit more into vertical video and doing more of that for everybody that's for anybody that follows us, not just paid folks. So that's kind of the idea, and we just kind of wanted to pare it down too. Like let's simplify this and again, something that can be sustainable for a longer period of time.
And that's the thing. We've talked about this. We're kind of unique in the fact that we are, we focus heavily on our website, but also on YouTube. Most places are either one or the other, or they have a YouTube channel, but it's not like the focus. We're kind of leaning into both, and we want to make sure we're creating something that's with the Patreon community that is beneficial to them.
Yeah.
Without, as Joe said, it has to be sustainable. We can't exhaust ourselves doing that and then neglect
main channel
or whatever, the main entities of what we do here. So I really think we have an awesome community. They're really engaged, and they're all very intrigued about what direction this is going to take, and I think that's going to help us to kind of streamline what type of things we're doing for that community. So I think at the end of the day, in the long haul, this is going to create more benefit and more value for the tiers as they are now. So
basically what we did is we essentially we unpublished our top two tiers, our $10 and our $25 tier, and then we took Discord benefits and added that to the $5 tier. So now all we have is ad-free access to the website for $2 a month. That's your most basic membership you can have. That's all you get with that, is just ad-free access to the website. And then we have a $5 tier that adds Discord.
Yep.
And we're gonna still continue to try to share videos early and post other little random behind the scenes stuff whenever it's something that just pops up on Discord. And by doing that, we now introduced several new people to the community that didn't have that benefit before, that were the $5. And we're really hoping that by doing that, having more people in there, having more engagement, us being more involved in Discord and really focusing on sharing and commenting. And there's some new stuff in there with forums that we're going to hopefully roll out, where we can have threaded stuff. And there's just some cool stuff we can do with that community, and really focus on kind of nurturing and growing that community rather than being a little bit spread out,
and I think that's kind of the key, is that we're focused now on building community, because we've always had a community in the Patreon and the Discord, but it was disconnected because content here, not content there, and there was so many channels that it's hard for us to stay engaged and all that. But our core group of people, we're all engaged, and there's so much more going on in the Discord community for the patrons that's not Chrome OS related.
Yeah.
I mean, we share recipes. We have, one of the guys who got bumped up into the Discord the other day was like, I can't believe there's not a coffee channel. I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
You're right.
Yeah.
We should have a coffee channel, and that's cool because Discord has become this place of community.
Well, and just
for the Patreon,
and just real time communication,
Yeah.
rather than like with posting on Patreon even, which honestly, hey, Patreon is great. They've done some incredible stuff. They've allowed so many creators to be, more diversified with their revenue streams, and allowed them to do really cool stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, Patreon is cool, but some of the posting stuff wasn't great. The integration with Vimeo wasn't great.
Right. Yeah.
There was just some weird stuff here and there that we didn't love, and it's almost this like, hey, I'm creating this post, and then there's maybe comments there, and it's in, this kind of feed, rather than Discord is just this ongoing kind of real-time communication with people.
Yeah, and there's always support in there. We always have people in our Discord community who are saying, hey, I've got this problem with this, or I'm trying to figure out that. And if we're not there, there's 100 or 200 other people there. Our Linux channel, man,
those Linux stuff,
those guys are in there doing stuff that's flying over my head, and I'm like, David is just killing it with like Linux stuff, and I'm just like, dude, this is awesome.
It's this like, it's a private community, so we kind of have a little bit more control over it than something maybe like a Reddit, where it's just anybody and everybody. But these are people that are true Chromebook enthusiasts, right?
Yeah.
That are in here, and like Gabe said, some of the workspace stuff, like people that are different admins and different stuff that know things that we just don't even know, that are in there commenting and responding to people.
I think that's what the takeaway here is. When we made these changes, obviously there were people that were concerned with like, what are you doing? What's direction is it going? When we first started out with Patreon, we had an idea of what we wanted to do, but we're not a merch focused brand. We're not a support focused brand. We can't offer an ongoing thing to people. One of the guys I follow, and I actually subscribed to his Patreon not too long ago, is a Mad Scientist Barbecue up in Louisville, and his Patreon is very robust. He has like 8 tiers or whatever, but his top tier, you literally can call him and he will voice chat you and walk you through
whatever
like
you're working
his
on,
recipe for it, or he'll you're having problems with your smoker, and he has ongoing things every month. And as much as we would love to offer that, one, it is time intensive. Two, not really sure what we could offer from that aspect. We're not here cooking new recipes or making gourmet cakes on every day here at the office.
Somebody might need help, like
that's not related
buying
to
a Chromebook, but we have a lot of content out there about that.
Create content about that, and again, we have the Discord community where people can say, hey, I have that Chromebook. Here's what I love about it. Here's what I don't.
Exactly.
Because as much as we try to review every device that comes out, we don't drive all of them on a regular basis. No. So I can't tell you, I've had this one for 2 months. Here's what I don't like about it. We review them. We have them for a week, and then we tell you the ins and outs.
It's the power of the collective, rather than just getting our opinion on stuff.
The hive mind, as they would call it.
Exactly. But we're really excited about this shift, and excited to kind of re-engage with Discord, and the thread stuff or the forums stuff is really interesting to me. That way
the other day I didn't see it in there. I'm excited to get it set up. But
so it would follow kind of a similar format as Reddit, where you could have questions and then nested answers, whereas right now it's just all one going conversation. So sometimes it's hard if somebody asks a question. You might reply to them, but then like, how do you track that? And so then maybe someone asks another question. Well, then that one's like lost. So, and also being able to just have that, especially just from a support standpoint. Hey, how do I do this on my Chromebook? It's now a thing that's searchable. You can find it, and then
I need to read up on it. But I'm hoping that Discord is really going to lean into this and do kind of a Reddit style thing, because if you can do where you can pin questions and you can upvote, and you can if you can stuff like mark this best answer, stuff like that will make
star it or something.
I mean, I never get on Reddit anyway unless I see like a something in my feed that's Chrome OS related, but this would be a welcome replacement for Reddit, where you can still kind of keep out all the garbage.
And just being able to letting the community decide what's most important, or if there's upvotes, or I mean, obviously we can kind of track this just based on number of comments and stuff in there, but being able to upvote or star this or whatever could be kind of cool.
Yeah, but so and Discord's also beefing up their auto mods, which we have a couple of bots running on our channels, which are helpful and they're fun. You can do fun stuff with them, but being able to have auto mod bots and stuff that can not just kind of police the forum, but also answer questions automatically and things like that. That'll be a huge thing.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm excited about it. If you want to check it out, just click the link in the show notes.
1 million strong. That's what we're going for.
That's right.
That's the target.
Let's do it.
Just totally made that up.
That would be amazing.
That would be awesome.
But yeah, $5 get Discord or $2 just ad free.
And I will say, like the entirety of our time doing all the Patreon stuff, I think at any point in this journey, we've all looked at each other and realized, like, the best part of all this has been getting to know some people in Discord.
Right.
Like, that's been there's been all the other stuff we've done, but like this is the core part of it. And so,
exactly.
If there's any part of you that thinks like, oh, they're removing all these extra things, like we're keeping the thing that after kind of shaking through it and sifting it a little bit, like this is the thing that actually matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, we've had people come by our office that were patrons. The thought that we have connected, and it's the same thing when Robbie and I first started writing 6 years ago, and we started making these connections. Like, oh man, I'm having conversations with a guy in Australia or this. It's mind blowing, but that's what's so awesome, that it's all about that community. It's so cool. I mean, I can't. We go to Florida quite a bit, and I'm like, I can't wait to just like go on vacation and be like, hey man, I'm coming through. You want to grab a cup of coffee or something?
It's cool, and it's something that I think will allow us to, we keep referring to community. Like that's the real thing about all of this that's been fun, and that's the thing we want to focus on, and we can do that best through Discord. So go check it out. It's super fun, and we hope to see you in there. Okay, let's one other quick thing. We're doing a giveaway. Go get entered to win right now. If you haven't, you're dumb and you're not our friend. That's just the fact.
It's just true.
So just
true.
If you want us to like you, go get entered to win. That's
man.
That's it. We want to give you. We want to give you a free
disclaimer at the bottom of that segment, please.
Just kidding.
Just
Joe doesn't
kidding.
Like no, Joe really does think this, but Joe's views do not reflect the views of Chromebox, Unboxed Media, or any of it. Yeah.
Joe also is dumb.
Yeah.
Joe is also our HR department. So
are you entered to win? No. Thus, you're dumb.
I can't enter to win.
Equal.
You're
stupid.
Then I'm done.
Hey, the equation works out.
The math checks out.
You're dumb and you can't fix it.
We're trying to hit 6,000 subs on this YouTube channel, the Chromecast Podcast, and all you have to do
Where we
is
at?
We had like a nice little bump last week, and we were getting a few more throughout the week.
Did you see the redesign of YouTube Studio?
It's really nice.
I like the look of it. I don't like.
It's hard finding some things now.
Like they don't have the thing there where it says like the views, your normal range.
Yeah,
it's not there
anymore.
You have
to click into the video now. Yeah, you have to click into the actual video.
Anyway,
and see it. Yeah, but
4,700.
47. Okay, we're on the home stretch.
Oh wow! I literally opened this last night. And it was not like that.
Somebody said, "Oh, sorry, you can't get 10,000."
and that is awesome.
Ouch!
I just hope they subscribe because we want them here.
Yeah,
we want that. We want that kind of.
We will hit 10,000 eventually. Because we just have a lot of stuff to give away.
If there's anything you will ever learn about Chrome Unboxed as a collective, we are very stubborn and fickle, and if you say we can't, we are probably going to.
You watch.
Just watch.
So go get entered to win. You have to. The goal is to get you to subscribe to this channel, but if you go through the actual giveaway, link through Gleam, you get all these other entries, and that's how we can contact you. It's not as simple as just going and subscribing, because then we wouldn't have any way to contact you, because YouTube doesn't give us any of your information to reach out.
If you want to do that, then that's cool too.
Yeah, I mean, just go subscribe.
That's
fine too. That's fine.
Got to get over the hump.
Yeah, we're getting there. So check that out. Link in the show notes. Link in the descriptions.
Bio,
it's linked everywhere.
Lincoln.
It's linked places.
Lincoln Park.
It's on the top of the website. I mean, I don't know what else you want. Just go find the giveaway.
It is on the top of the website. That's right.
Let's talk about some gaming stuff. You want to start with Lenovo?
Ordered a Switch.
Okay.
Yeah. Well.
Nice.
I mean,
because of Anyway,
so I saw two, and I threw it in the kind of notes that we'll talk about. But Razer is getting ready to announce one too. Razer Qualcomm.
Handheld?
Yeah, Razer Qualcomm.
I saw
and
that.
dang it, who else is somebody else is partnering with them. Same idea here. So just Logitech is the so that
theirs is already
Logitech's is announced, and I don't know if you can buy it yet. Michael has a post up about it already, but
I don't think you could buy it yet.
Yeah, he said it was a little overpriced, but same idea here. Basically, an Android handheld that has controllers already mounted on it, play Android games, but it's also really geared towards cloud gaming. Yeah. So your major cloud gaming services will be represented and good to go to use on this thing. And to me, this represents a bit of an arrival for cloud gaming. And this acceptance almost, and I'm really hoping this doesn't end up at like a 3D television moment for handheld cloud gaming stuff. So like where the market has decided this is where it's going to go, and the people are like, still no, don't want it.
Yeah, because that's the most painful thing in the world when that happens.
Yeah, I mean 3D televisions were just terrible, and nobody wanted them, and it's like the market had said, this is what we're going to make, and the OEMs decided they were all going to build those TVs, and literally no one bought them. So there's like probably 2 at Best Buy if you went right now, if that. I don't even know if they have any 3D televisions anymore. And it was a huge thing. Like everything was 3D for a little while, and it's like, nah, bro, nobody wants that. Nobody wants to go. Everybody pass out the glasses every time.
Everybody put on the glasses.
How are these going to like we're going on vacation? My kids have their handhelds. So do they have data cards? I
don't think so. So you'd have to get on Wi-Fi somewhere. So and that's the thing. Like they have Android games on them too. So
because I love the idea, and if they have Android games, then that's great. But I love the idea. Like my son loves Roblox. He'd be able to get on Roblox.
And it would play all those Android games really well because it's just like geared for gaming. But then, when they want to play AAA stuff, there's the game streaming stuff. And then Xbox, for instance, I mean, and Steam does this too, where you can stream from your local PC on your local Wi-Fi.
Steam PC, Steam Play,
and so that stuff works really well too. And so there's just all these different options that this one handheld could kind of dip into. And I love the idea of it. Most of the games I like to play, I don't love playing them with controllers. I'm bad at it. It's not that it's not the right way to play. My daughter's really good at Fortnite with the Switch controller, but I struggle. I like the touchscreen or a mouse.
Yeah.
Like, these days, I'm better just with a touchscreen. Yeah. Like I go back to a mouse and I'm like, I suck with this too now. Okay, so I'm bad at all these things. So if I practice more, it would be fine.
Oh
but,
yeah.
But I would assume they have touchscreens on them. So if you wanted to play with touch controls, I would think you could just hold it. It'd be a little awkward, I guess. But yeah, I mean, you got a couple of these that have shown up now. Probably won't be the last ones, I would think. That now go with the same idea of slapping a cool controller via USB-C to your phone, and it's just this idea that between cloud streaming and local gaming and local streaming gaming, like there's a bunch of different options out there right now, and so it looks like, wow, the future is just bright for game streaming.
Yeah. Like, so will I be able to install GeForce Now on my Switch?
That
would be awesome. No. Like Nintendo should just open up and be like, "Hey, we're going to allow all this other stuff too." That'd be great.
All they'd have to do is just say, game streaming," and I mean,
because this is the game streaming and all those services. They're about a decade, 5 years, behind streaming services. I mean, where everyone has HBO Max and Netflix and all that stuff. Gaming's getting there, obviously, because it requires a lot more hardware on the server end to run all this stuff for millions of people.
And latency.
When it gets good enough and the latency is no longer an issue, I mean, this is the direction it's going. I'm with Robbie. I'm hoping it's not they've pulled the trigger too soon. Hope not, because nothing will kill something worse than releasing it too early. So
because if they push it out there and nobody buys it, then it'll be hard pressed for manufacturers to go want to try this again. Like they'll just all be like, you know what, we're gonna walk away.
It's like the Chrome OS tablet.
So and so we'll see what happens. But in lieu of that, and in the midst of like, okay, cool, like the streaming gaming industry is taking this big step forward.
Whoa!
They dropped a turd off on the way, apparently, and that turd is Stadia.
Which if
you turn their logo upside down, it does kind of look like a turd.
Oh my gosh!
Somebody did that at one point. Put the steam coming off. I'm like,
gosh!
But let's be honest, they are probably one of the major catalysts for things moving the way they are.
They started it. Like they're the ones that are responsible for all of it. Like they were just too far ahead of their time.
So, let's back up because we haven't actually said what the news is. So
because I don't want to say it.
I know, but so yesterday, out of nowhere, Phil Harrison, the VP GM of Stadia at Google, announced that they will be sunsetting the service completely on January 18th, 2023.
Insert sad trombone sound.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, and there's going to
give us the wall.
Yeah, there's going to be a ton of "I told you so." And I mean, we have never ever said there's absolutely no way Google's going to do this because it is Google, and we know that as much as we love Stadia and as awesome as it has become, the adoption has not been grand.
And we've talked about that at length. It's
in any scale,
titles and people. Like you got to have both, and they're gaining titles, but. Gaining titles in number is one thing. Gaining titles in like clout is another.
Yeah.
And big, like when Epic decided and said very clearly, like Stadia is not worth us developing Fortnite for. It's like,
that's not good.
Because Fortnite probably doesn't have quite the player base it did at its peak, but there are still a ton of people playing Fortnite, and Epic's done a great job of continuing to reinvent season after season what that game is, and people still play it. And no, it's not the only one, and blah, 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 whatever. And maybe it's not as popular as it was because it was ridiculous there for a little while.
And it's not.
But trust me, bunches of people, like, and the fact that my kids play it and all of their friends still play it tells you, like, you know, my daughter's will be 12 in a couple weeks. Like, she is the generation of, like, that gives you a barometer of what kids want to play.
Exactly.
What games are cool and what are not. You know, it's not the ones that 30 or 40-year-olds are playing. It's what kids are playing, and decide that's what pushes this industry forward always. And they still all think Fortnite's cool, and that's crazy.
Fortnite's done a good job of capturing the older audience too. I don't play it personally. I've never gotten into it. If I stopped and actually took the time, I probably would. But like, there's a guy in our office who plays it quite frequently. He came to me the other day. I was like, "Oh man, did you see what they're doing? They were doing a whole Dragon Ball Z thing."
Oh yeah.
That captures the 20
I come home
and 30-year-old,
you know, my daughter's taking over the TV. She'll drop the switch on the dock and be playing on the TV. All right, you got 30 minutes and you got to go back to your room.
And it's not that Google tried.
Yummy yum, like, thing, exactly. Finishing move. Like you could fly up in the air and shoot people with this like big ray of light.
I mean, Google tried. You know, when they brought on PUBG, the timing wasn't great because they was too late. They were on unstable ground at that time, and we know they spent years developing all of this technology and getting everything in place. But they should have really gotten a good number of big names on board out of the gate, even if it meant, hey, we're going to throw some money at you,
or wait until you have them to launch. Like they should have just waited and had a couple big names on board.
Yeah, I think the technology was so exciting, and they wanted
to be the first out with it.
They wanted to be the first,
and they probably thought like, oh, people will get it, and we'll get some of these big. And they got some big stuff. Like Cyberpunk was a huge sign.
Yeah, that was.
You know, PUBG was way too late, and it didn't do crossplay, did it?
Nope.
And that was the problem. Like, you didn't need to just get big titles. You need to get big titles to agree to do crossplay.
If you're going to draw people from PC or Xbox or whatever, there has to be, you know, I'm not going to dump everything I've done for 2, 3, 4, 5 years just to go play a game I love and have already achieved well on a different platform.
Right. Yeah. And hope that somebody else does. And that's the problem with PUBG. They had to shut down the mouse and keyboard setting for that game because literally no one was in there. And so you go in on a Chromebook and sit there and wait to match, and there was no one playing.
Yep.
Like, no one? Nobody is playing. I'm the only person
in the world
in this game.
9 billion people. Here we are.
Just insane to me. Like,
not one other single person.
And again, PUBG was late. PUBG had already very much declined by the time. It's probably why they signed the deal. Probably got them some money.
It felt like,
it was way too late. But yeah, they really needed to have signed on a Fortnite or Call of Duty, like Warzone, or something and support crossplay and all those things. They needed something like that, and they just never quite had that one title that people, again, like you said, like that, I have an Xbox and I do all my stuff on Xbox, but I can have a Stadia account and play that game and log in with my stuff and still have it. Oh, well, yeah, I'll try this out.
Yeah,
people would have done that, but it was the titles that they had didn't have the right crossplay, or they just didn't have the titles, or they didn't get them in time, or whatever, and it wasn't enough to draw people over to the platform. And you got to think about it, like Stadia, even though it's streaming or whatever, it is the console. Like the cloud is the console. And that was just another console to say, hey, we want to play too.
Yeah.
And as we've seen with phones over time, guess what? It all shook out, and there's Android and iOS now.
Right.
And there's all these other operating systems. Now there's two.
Yeah.
Like you got Xbox and PlayStation. It's hard to see. Like Switch does its thing because Nintendo's been around, but I think the gaming console arena it's full. Like I don't know who else. So that's why Xbox's game streaming will work. If PlayStation decided to jump in late and do something similar, and it was good and it worked with all the people that they already have, that works. You already have the audience, no big deal. And that's why GeForce Now works, because it taps into all sorts of stuff.
Right.
That's why these work. And like with Luna, I don't know how Luna will survive, other than Amazon just continuing to throw money at it.
That would be my guess.
But it's in the same boat as Stadia. It's going to be, unless they throw enough money at it to get developers to decide to make crossplay versions that work with Xbox.
And that's a shame, because Amazon and Google are the two companies that, and I understand there's been all this stuff with Sundar and them, cutting back and all that stuff, but they also have recorded record profits that they had the ability, even pre-COVID, to make this work, and they didn't. And Amazon definitely does. And if Jeff Bezos is stubborn enough, he probably doesn't care about gaming, but he's probably stubborn enough to say, I'm going to make this work just because Google didn't. Yeah. But it stinks, because I've discovered a lot of really cool games. I've been a pro subscriber since day one, and we've got some games on there that I really enjoy playing that I would have never known of if it weren't for that. Right. But there's not any big name titles on Stadia that would have drawn me to it, for that reason.
That you want to go play consistently.
Yeah, I mean, what was the first one? First big one? Was it Halo? Was it Halo? No, not Halo.
Xbox.
The one in space. It's the one
the one in space.
The one in space.
One in space.
Oh,
what kind of a game is it? What do you do?
Shoot things.
In space?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I have
with spaceships.
My brain. No.
Like Half-Life?
No, not Half.
No. Is that a first-person shooter?
Yes.
Man, in space?
Yeah. What is my?
Oh, Destiny.
Destiny. Man, my brain just
it's like, what?
Yeah, Destiny.
I think they wanted Destiny to be the thing.
It was It was supposed to be like their poster child, but it didn't work.
But that's the funny thing. Like Destiny 2 is one of those games that I feel like gamers talked about a lot, but general public, people didn't.
Right.
Like I didn't know, other than one guy here in the office, I didn't personally know anybody that played Destiny 2 on a regular basis.
No, and I enjoyed playing it. But
it was cool.
I was just like, now if you'd have got Halo, that might have been different. Yeah.
And that's where like Xbox they've got all the Halos, and
you have to have some franchises.
Service. They've got their franchise stuff, but they've also got the players that are all there, and GeForce Now has all the Steam people, and so I mean, that part they have figured out. Stadia could just not get over that hump, and the only way to get gamers to show up is with games. And so it's like it's a chicken egg situation, because
and maybe shutting down their own studio, maybe that was the first nail in the coffin.
It was.
That could have at least helped them to develop some stuff to say, hey, here's some content that you don't get anywhere else.
And that's where Luna, I think they're pushing to.
Are they?
Yeah, they're going to have some exclusive titles.
Studio,
you have to. I mean, that's why PlayStation and Xbox both do it. That's why they're PC exclusive titles. Like, you have to have some exclusivity to cause people to even think about coming over. Because if not, if every game's on every platform, why would you ever leave? Like, why would you bother? And so it's a tough it's a tough thing to come into and try to win. And they were too early, but their UI is the best. I mean, like actually using Stadia, like the core part of Stadia is better than any of the other ones.
Yeah. I wonder if usage will spike now. Because you still have 3 months to play all your games, complete missions, all that
Probably
stuff.
not.
I'm like, there's some games I'm really going to go play because I'm like, oh, yeah, I need to play that. But now I'm like, I really want to play that.
I bought, of course, you get refunded for everything. So that's cool.
Which is nice.
But I bought like Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2
because
they had a sale on them. And I was like, cool, I'm going to play those. I never did.
No.
That's on me, though. Those are games that I could play through but they're also games that I'm not going to play with my kids around,
right?
Because there's tons of language. It's super violent, like, and so it's like I think about the fact that we were looking up the Breath of the Wild sequel, Zelda, and what date it's going to come out, and I'm like already thinking about. Can't wait to go buy that, and we'll play that as a group, like at home, and we'll enjoy this game so much. I'm like, those are the type of titles Stadia just never had. Stadia never had anything on it where my kids got really deep into it.
Yep.
And they played Stadia quite a bit, but they never really connected with anything on there.
Yeah.
And so, like, you can't get into this space and not capture that group of that demographic of people, and it just never did.
Yeah.
The only my son has played more games on there than any of us. The only one he loved playing consistently was that was it Piku Inu or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
But he got pretty far through it, but the only reason he really liked it is because you can walk around and kick people. He's got like his long legs, you kick people and kick rocks and stuff. He's like, Dad, watch this, he's gonna get mad.
Yeah. I just think also, from a big picture look at this, Google was trying this. The technology was really cool. They wanted to be the first. And now they're kind of maybe looking at the big picture and saying, all right, well, we have Steam on Chrome OS, and we're doing some cool stuff with gaming Chromebooks, and maybe that's our focus, and this other thing just clearly didn't work. So let's just throw in the towel now.
Yeah.
Instead of
honestly,
because there's just kind of lingering.
All
It's
stuff.
like lingering right now.
White labeling the Stadia because I mean they've done it already. What was the Verizon or AT&T?
AT&T,
they've done it, and they obviously know how to do cloud stuff. They know how to do massive servers, and these companies that want to do this kind of stuff, why not go to Google?
Yeah.
I mean, Google's their overhead's gonna be a lot less doing this than it is gonna be paying game developers and all that stuff. So
yeah, it's a bummer though. So,
it stinks.
All right,
but yeah, just to reiterate, he mentioned this. If any hardware purchases or game purchases, you will get refunded for. So I got the email yesterday saying, look out for another email on how to get refunded for your purchases. So
I looked through
hardware too.
Yeah. So because we ordered, I remember we were at Joe's. We were still working out at Joe's house when we ordered the Founders Edition.
Get your money back for that, and then I bought PGA.
Yep, I bought PGA.
And I looked at all my obviously you're $9.99 for Pro every month. You don't get that back. But anything you bought, you'll get back. And so it's like I'm going to end up getting like $3.50 back.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm going to get a chunk of change back.
Yeah, Artem tweeted his game list yesterday, and I'm like, wow, he's going to buy another Tesla with that.
Jeez.
I have all the games.
Yeah,
but good on them for at least saying, hey, we're shutting it down, but we're giving you all your money.
Yeah,
that is
absolutely.
That's going to cost them so much money.
Yeah, it is, but it's a drop in the bucket for Google.
Well, yeah, and compared to they're probably operating at a loss. I would assume
sure.
So they can take all those servers and reassign them to do some other stuff. And
yeah.
I don't know.
There you have it.
But it is what it is.
There you have it. Okay, we're going to take a quick break for an ad, and we'll be right back. Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. One other gaming thing that we didn't get to in that first segment. Gabe dug up a Lenovo Chromebook.
He didn't even have to dig it up.
Didn't even really dig it up. Yeah,
it came to me while I was sleeping.
We're a little defensive,
but not in a dream.
Not in a dream.
Into my inbox.
In an email.
It was an email. An alert.
Yeah.
Alert. This happened. Little slip up.
So there's a company. I don't know. Make up a name. Lenovo. Okay, Lenovo. They have a website. It's not a well-known website, but it's a website. It's public facing. It is. I can't remember what it stands for. Anyways, it's product specification reference. So it's literally just when a new product is not necessarily launched into retail stores, but when it's official, it's getting ready to go to be for sale. The spec sheets for each model go on this website. I'm sure all companies have these types of websites. Lenovo is the only one that has it public, and they even have a place where you can sign up for email alerts to be alerted when they update it. It updates, I don't know, every couple of weeks because they're not releasing new hardware all the time, but Windows, Chromebooks, tablets, any
type. Where you found the 8 gig Duet 3 also, right? You're like,
well, no,
8 gig Duet 3. I figured.
No, I found it on. I don't know why. I usually check Lenovo's website for deals.
Somebody tweeted it. at us.
That's right. Someone had
I think it was a
tweeted
tweet.
us. That's right, and then went and found it on the PSRef's website.
And then after you put it out, somebody on YouTube also commented, was like, "You need to update this video. There's an 8.1." Like, we can't just go update a YouTube video.
Yeah,
we'll add a little. We'll add an info
right
card.
now. No. So, anyways, I get emails when these update, and I was scrolling through, and I saw one that said IP, which is short for IdeaPad, and then CB. They don't write Chromebook on these model names. It's just IP CB Gaming, and I'm like,
what that is?
Yeah, what is these? So I get in there and I look at it and realize quickly that it's very similar to the Chromebook that Lenovo announced at the beginning of September, which was just
at IFA.
Yeah, at IFA. It's a 16-inch. 16-inch. That one is a Pentium and Core i3. No, Pentium. The one you wrote up.
Yeah, I think it was an i3.
All right, so, but it's just, I mean, it's a plain Jane 16-inch, good display, just a middle of
120 hertz.
Yeah, but it was the first 120 hertz Chromebook to market. So it's not like that was a surprise or a secret or anything. This new one, 120 hertz screen, but it's actually branded a gaming laptop, and then the official name is Lenovo Chromebook 5 Gaming, I think is what it's called.
Well, and we need to back up. Like, we've talked multiple times about RGB keyboards coming to Chromebooks. Like that's all been very public in the repositories. I know Kyle Bradshaw over at 9 to 5 has dug up quite a bit of stuff about this. So all of these things, like, none of this stuff was like, oh my God, I didn't know this existed. Like,
yeah, this isn't some never ever before seen thing. These are things we knew that were coming. So this device is same chassis as the one that was announced at IFA, but it has a really cool design. Lenovo started doing that, like 1/4 of the lid is a different color, kind of gives it a silhouette look. But this one has some cool little pill-shaped designs on it, so it's unique in that sense. Same 120 hertz screen, 350 nits, 100% sRGB, nice display, awesome, but it has an RGB 4-zone RGB keyboard, which will coincide with some new features that are coming to Chrome OS, where you'll be able to customize your RGB keyboard in the Chrome OS settings.
Awesome.
Yeah, so you'll be able to, because gamers like to have their WSAD keys, programmed so you can see them, whatever. But it's standard 12th gen processors, standard amount of RAM, 8, which someone did point out, to play World of Warcraft you need like 16 gigs of RAM, and I'm like, I get that, and Lenovo probably should offer a 16 gig version of this, but as of right now there's not. It's 8 gigs of RAM, Core i3 or Core i5, which means the Core i5 you get Iris graphics. It's going to be great for like Steam games and stuff.
Sure.
But apparently it wasn't supposed to be published when it was published, and it just is what it is.
Yeah.
So
okay,
but apparently the world loves it and they're excited about it.
Yeah,
a lot of people have picked it up, and it is cool. I mean, it's an awesome looking device. Some of the photos they had some of the product photos in there were just phenomenal looking, but
real tiny bezels.
Yeah, we're excited about this device, and we were excited to share it. So. And obviously we know we're going to see more devices like this because we've been tracking them in the repositories. It's not a mystery or a shock. But it's interesting, like, juxtaposition with all the stuff that's happening, like Stadia getting shut down and everything.
Right.
Like, but at the end of the day, Chromebooks are going to be running Steam games, and a device like this would do really well with those. GeForce Now, and I haven't messed with Xbox's thing in a little while. I remember
I haven't. I don't think I've ever used it.
I think because you have to, at least for now, I know they were working on keyboard and mouse support. Like, you have to hook up a controller to it. That was the thing. The web interface still had a little bit of lag in it, and the app itself didn't. But it was hit or miss whether it would run on Chromebook. So, like, as that stuff starts to clean up, like Stadia was always the one that you'd be like, yeah, on a Chromebook, if you go to stadia.com, like, the experience is perfect.
Yeah,
like, it's so good. GeForce Now is really good too, don't get me wrong, but it's GeForce Now is like, hey, we have the games and the people. The interface is a little herky-jerky, but again, I haven't played GeForce Now in a few months either. They just keep making more and more strides to make it better. So all those things will come together, and I think hopefully we're at a spot where this it kind of going into the holiday season, we're at a spot where gaming Chromebooks make sense.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you know, Steam. Did we find something like the repositories where Steam has moved to beta or is coming?
Yeah.
to beta
So
soon?
not
the beta version of it, but
yeah, Kyle first discovered it, but yeah, it's coming to the beta channel and preparation for beta, so it's going to beta because it's still in alpha right
Double
now.
beta.
So yeah,
but they're also removing the token for certain devices.
Yeah.
So soon, very soon, I don't know when, but very soon, you're going to be able to be in the beta channel, and the Steam installer app is just going to be there.
just
You
click
don't
I
have to
want
do
Steam
any weird
and it'll do the
cross
thing.
stuff or anything.
And it's coming to lower end devices.
Yeah,
so Core i3s
should come to Core i3s, all Ryzen's. So they've obviously put in the work to get this working well. Now, that's not to say you get a Core i3 device with HD graphics and you load up like the most graphic intensive game Steam has. It's probably not going to do great.
Yeah, but you might be able to run it on medium,
right?
You know,
but I don't think Google would bring it to these lower end devices if they didn't know that
it's going to work,
because like 90-something% of games work with, you know, Proton and all that stuff. So
well, and the other thing too, like in our we haven't done. Have we done we haven't done the review yet on the big Asus Core i3.
No.
Yeah, because we've had some other stuff come up. So, but in the initial hands-on, like, you know, and I wrote an article about this too. Like, the speed of this thing is crazy, and it's a Core i3, and it's from a benchmark standpoint, just like raw processing power, single and multi-core. Like, it's right there with the 12th gen i5 and i7. It beats it in certain benchmarks, which is crazy. So yeah, it doesn't have quite as capable of GPU, but there's a lot of raw horsepower in that Core i3 12th gen. So all these Chromebooks that are going to be coming out with that, you know, no, they're not going to be Steam like this is the best Steam gaming thing you could buy, but the Core i3 keeps the price down on these Chromebooks. As far as regular Chromebook stuff goes, have no issue running any of it. Like, they could do all of it. And now, hopefully, you know, we'll see Steam games come to those too, and, you know, for casual type games.
And that's my point that I made in the article, is that like for the Core i3 model of this new Lenovo, you know, you're not going to market that to someone who's solely a PC gamer, but someone who has a few Steam games, you know, maybe if they just played like Civilization and stuff like that, which those take no graphic, but like Day of Defeat and old Source games and stuff like that, this is the perfect device to market. This is a cloud gaming monster that's beautiful, and it's a gaming device, and you can also play some of your favorite Steam titles. Then you take the i5 and you're like, you want to get into Steam games? Here's how you do it. And then you get devices like the Framework that have that P-series processor, and it's like these are going to be all-in-one devices that it should be relatively easy to market to. Especially, I feel like for parents, it will be great because they could market this from a perspective of, hey, look, your kid's got access to all sorts of stuff,
right?
You know, Android
tons
games,
of options, and maybe some of these, if they take off, could help, you know, spur Android developers as well to
be serious.
Make your game work on a Chromebook. Like, just go get a Chromebook and see how it goes, and make the fixes you need to make it work. Because now there's going to be gaming Chromebooks out there, and so, you know, think about those things. Think about larger screens. Think about mouse keyboard input if you can do it. But, you know, Chromebooks are, you know, we're working on this. It's in alpha also, but the keyboard overlay on games, you know, it only works on like 7 games or whatever right now as a test, but it does work. I did find out though that like on 3x2 or 16x10 screens,
it's wonky.
It doesn't quite line up. It's assuming all those things are going to be in place, but the end result of this will be you'll be able to drag your keys wherever you want them, lay them on the thing, and then set all of. You can't do any of that stuff yet, but you know, so Google's trying to kind of assist. That's a crutch, if you ask me. But, you know, for there's certain games that might be a better solution.
Sure.
So I don't know. I think there's just so many things moving in this space, and clearly Google and its OEM partners, you know, want to allow Chromebooks to kind of take advantage of all of it in some different ways. And so I think, you know, devices like this and others that surely will come, because we're tracking all these different devices. I never wrote this, but I should have. We're tracking all these devices from like HP, for instance. Like, we have multiple Chromebooks, 12th gen Chromebooks we know that are coming from HP. It's like, why would they build this many?
Right.
Well, clearly one of these is probably going to be a gaming Chromebook, you know, and there's multiple from this OEM. Well, clearly, like, I remember thinking, like, that's why there's so many. Like, it's okay for you to have 2. Like, we see an Elite Dragonfly and an X3 X360 14C, you know,
right? And
for
and
this
that's
generation, like that's fine. But then it's like then there's a third, and then there's a fourth. Like, what are these going to be?
Yeah,
yeah. And I need to go back and connect the dots, and I'm going to write this up before we go out of town. But there's one baseboard, one 12th gen board that one of the commits said this board is literally a Steam board. So they have a line of 12th gen boards that are like these are boards that are designed for Steam gaming. Yeah. So those are going to be gaming laptops.
Yeah.
So,
but between, you know, again, I know Stadia going away kind of is a weird thing in the midst of all this, but like, you know, clearly, you know, Google is seeing that there's room for this. There's going to be, you know, a market for this. And again, you know, tracing back gaming, you know, RGB keyboards, high refresh rate screens, Steam gaming, like there's a lot of, you know, momentum going on here. And so, you know, it'll be interesting to watch and see how it plays out, and then see how people respond to it, you know, in the end.
What's Lenovo's gaming division? Legion.
Yeah.
Was there any mention of Legion with this?
That would have been cool, but no, it's not. It doesn't have the Legion logo or anything like that.
I've always thought that would be the coolest thing but you got to think that the audience that they have under these gaming, like I imagine, like
they're expecting.
Like, ooh, if Acer made a Predator Chromebook, that would be awesome, right? But I'm like, would the audience that is like, I got Predator stickers on my stuff.
No, because
they're gonna almost be mad.
Yeah,
that you let
they're looking for high end graphics cards and all that stuff, and they're going to be like, this should not be a I mean, it's
doesn't fit the brand necessarily.
But I do hope that all of this ends up giving us our first Chromebook with a discrete GPU.
Yes,
that'd be cool.
And a gaming Chromebook.
Still like waiting to see
gaming Chromeboxes.
One of those things come out, and it hasn't happened yet. I'm also just as interested to see what some of these, you know, something like the Lenovo or just, you know, the framework Chromebook with this kind of processing power and with Steam games cleaned up, like in its proper form. What does that look like? Because we still don't really know. Like, we don't really know what it's going to end up being like. Like, is it, I can run like 75% of this stuff, or I can run everything I want. I just got to turn the graphics down a little bit and really enjoy it. Like, is that what it's going to, like, I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, then, you know, a discrete GPU and a Chromebook is like, it'll be cool when it gets here, but it's maybe not that necessary.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to have, you know, high-end gamers. And maybe at that point, that's when you see the Acer Predator Chromebook, you know, where they can throw a GPU, a 120 hertz screen,
and that's for me, because I play mostly Source games. My graphics are fine. I can turn the graphics up on those games because they're not, you know, they're older or whatever. I just want the experience to be, I don't want to have to deal with like pointer lock issues or scaling issues when I've got an external monitor and things like, you know, like on mine now, if I don't have the lid closed on my Chromebook, my extended screen, the mouse isn't where it's supposed to be, so I have to find the buttons to click for servers. It's like, fix all that stuff.
Right.
And,
So when is this, like, this update, when they're going into beta channel, when is that happening?
I don't know if there's a date on it.
I don't think there is a date.
It was some commits that basically.
So 106 should be rolling out today for the stable channel. So I mean, maybe 107 in the beta, which should be next few weeks, maybe a month.
Should be awesome.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it'd be awesome for it to show up. And start, especially if they get some of those tokens out of there, and it's in a spot where people, just general people, we can just, hey, you can go to the beta channel. We don't feel bad about telling people to go to the beta channel. Go to beta, click the install button, and give it a try, and provide feedback. You know, they need to open up the feedback quite a bit. But it'd be awesome to see it in a solid beta by the end of the year, and you know, out for public consumption by early 2023.
Yeah, more people playing, obviously. Just more feedback. And
I'd love for holidays season 2023 there would just be a slew of gaming Chromebook advertisements and stuff. That'd be awesome.
Totally.
I could completely see that happening.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll obviously report on it when we learn more.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about a couple Pixel family things. So let's talk tablet first. Want to?
Yeah. You know, we won't go too much into depth. We've already beaten a horse about, you know, the event. We know it's next week.
Yeah.
We know the items that are coming. We have a video up. We'll link it in the description or in the show notes. You know, that just here's all the stuff we're expecting. But, you know, Pixel 7, Pixel 7 Pro, Pixel Watch, maybe something more about this tablet, the Pixel tablet.
Hopefully, but yeah,
not at least a few more details, you know, and then maybe a tease on the Pixel notepad.
Yeah.
They're saying Q3 or Q1 likely is what the production window looks like. That's about the same amount of time out from this event as we are now from I/O when they teased all the other stuff. So could happen, might not. But yeah, the some leaks on the tablet came out. I think it was a product listing or something for. I'm trying to remember what it was now. It was an order, an EVT order. Okay. So evaluation testing devices being ordered, up to 256 gigs of storage on the Pixel tablet, confirmed an 11-inch display, 10.96 inches technically, but 11-inch display, and confirmed USI. There were already rumors about USI pen support, but confirmed their models with USI support. So you start taking those things into consideration when, you know, some of the other specs leak, like Gen 1 tensor, small storage, small RAM, that kind of stuff. It was like, this is going to be a Nest Hub that you can pick up,
just
take
a
around.
little around the house device,
poking about, kind of thing.
Poking about device.
You know? But I'm like, that much memory, and USI pen on a Nest Hub, like
this might be a legit tablet.
Yeah, and maybe they're just going to offer options. Like if you want the base one, it's great for tablet and great for home. But if you want to have a bigger tablet that you can take notes on, and it'd be really fun to see, you know, no offense, OEMs, but USI on Chromebook is still pretty hit or miss.
Little wonky.
Certain devices is fine, but then it's like, does it work on that Android app or not? And blah, blah, blah. Like, it's kind of all over the place. It'd be kind of cool to see. I feel like an Android tablet should handle USI better. Maybe not. I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see what it looks like on a Pixel tablet. But with this much memory, it's hard for me to believe that they're going to slap all that in and put really low-end specs in it. But maybe they will. I don't know. Yeah. And that's how it just depends on how they market it, what they want to do with it, how they're going to position it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So. Yeah. It. I could see that being like the case where that you almost have like two options. You know, you can here's this entry
there was the
model and then maybe something nicer.
Rumors about it there being a pro model as well.
Right.
But those were completely just rumors. I don't think there was anything substantial there, but maybe that's what it is. Pixel Tablet and Pixel Tablet Pro. And the Pro still does all the stuff if you want to do that.
Right.
You want to
still dock it.
But you can also take it with you and really get some work done.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Tablets are... Chromebook tablets to me are still super interesting because the idea of what it could be. Chromebook tablets as they exist right now are
not quite there.
Whatever. I feel like the touch interface on Chromebooks has been a little forgotten. I feel like the tablet UI was going through all these changes and then they just kind of stopped pushing. Like, make it great. It shouldn't feel janky. But they don't have any hardware to debut it on. Like, we've got, no offense to Lenovo, but those tablets are not powerful. The Snapdragon 7C Gen 2 is fine, but it's not like, oh, this is super powerful. So it's one of two things. Like, a tablet OS just needs a more powerful processor, or because honestly, like the Spin 513, you flip it into tablet mode and mess around the tablet stuff on that, it's actually really nice. Like, it works, but Chrome OS, I feel like, has too much overhead for the tablet UI at this point.
Right. Give me a Snapdragon 8 Gen whatever.
It'll probably run fine.
Yeah. Or the latest, greatest MediaTek.
But I feel like if the desktop OS doesn't struggle, well, I don't know. Maybe it's just a perception thing. Like with the desktop and you're moving around with more static things, you don't worry too much about an animation stutter here or there. But when you're dragging things around with your finger on the screen,
it's horrible.
You're used to doing it on a phone that has got really high refresh rates and it's got
super smooth
faster processor, and I need those elements to move when I when I move them across the screen, and so little stutters here and there are really, really evident and noticeable. And so maybe it's more of a perception thing. But either way, the tablet mode on Chrome OS still needs some work, I think. I think it should 100% feel like using Android or iPad OS, and most of it's there, but there's just some weird quirks with it. Sometimes, the gestures don't respond the way they need to, and so that makes the whole tablet thing a little bit worse. But it doesn't change the fact that in my brain, like, that makes Chrome OS makes the best tablet OS, because it's like if I have this great tablet experience that I would really enjoy, and then I can dock it and use it as a full desktop, like that's the best possible scenario. A tablet that is still a tablet when I dock it, and I got to use a bunch of Android apps to try to get productive, doesn't sound like something I don't want to carry that around.
I feel like OEMs have missed the boat, and I don't want to say they've single-handedly caused it, but they've caused a lot of the slow adoption of tablets because, I mean, they've come out just kind of dipping a toe in the water, and it's like you've created a subpar product because you've not been willing to go all in. I'm like, I understand that sometimes they make things and it's a swing and a miss. I mean, what was the first Snapdragon Windows device? It was hot garbage.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're still most of them.
But, you know, if you're going to do it all out, and then just, you know, and I know there's a lot of money and R&D involved in that, but if you're going to do it all out. You know what Chrome OS is already capable of. You produce dozens of different Chromebooks. You know how big of an ecosystem that is. If you're going to produce a Chrome OS tablet, make it really, really great.
And we're still waiting for that. Like, I think the Slate had the kind of hardware. The case was not great. Had the hardware to do that thing. Chrome OS was not ready for it. So it just didn't line up. But yeah, a Slate with a better version of a setup more like what you get with the Duet hardware wise. Yeah. An improved processor would be awesome.
Have you were you using the Slate for something like not too long ago? Did you update it and stuff?
Something. Yeah, it's probably a couple versions behind now. Yeah, and I think our keyboard is working, but the enter key is a little weird on it. Like it didn't age well.
It was not missing and not.
It was just stuck.
It was
the rebound wasn't there. It was just like flat.
It's like felt like there wasn't a.
Joe threw it off the roof.
I may have dropped it a few times. So
but I'm like, I could. Somebody on our Patreon said, like, y'all should, what's it like using it now? This many years after, and I was like, I could do that because I could use it as a tablet, and then I could take a little keyboard with me. Because we've got a case for it. I think that's like a folio case.
Yes,
that's just a stand.
Yeah,
maybe take that and keep the keyboard.
Is it a Belkin case or something over there? I forget.
Do something like that, and at the desk I can dock it and just use a keyboard. And I might have a gap in review units here shortly.
That
might try that. Just to see, because it's even if an 8th gen Core i5, I think is what's in it. It's far better hardware than anything we have in the tablet market right now. So we need that one of those big MediaTeks in a tablet.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Don't see any of them on the horizon right now. I feel like manufacturers have become disillusioned a little bit with Chrome OS tablets right now, which is a shame because I feel like there's a market there. It just hasn't been captured.
The Pixel tablet, Android tablet, all of these Android tablets still have like the lesser version of Chrome, right? Like it's not the full desktop Chrome.
Yeah, so I couldn't, like, some of the web development stuff I had to do because we had some site issues this week. Can't do that on those. So there's a huge chunk of my work, and then even like the way like WordPress renders in the back end, it's like certain things aren't just not going to work on a quote unquote mobile processor or a mobile browser. So yeah, it becomes a pretty big hindrance. It's not like, oh, I could make this work, and you see people write articles about it. Like, I tried to work from an iPad, or I tried to work,
or one of these nicer Samsung devices.
They're just not meant for that. Yeah. And if you're going to try to do that, like, the problems start persisting all over the place, and it's like, that's why Chrome OS would be great. But they've got to make the touch part of it. Like, I need to be in a spot where I want to pick up and use this thing. But that also means, like, Android games need to work, and Android apps need to work without question. And that's just not the case right now. Like, Android apps are still kind of messy on Chromebooks. And so it's like, if you, as a tablet device, like, you're going to need those things to all work the right way. And so that hasn't happened. And so then manufacturers don't want to make and put a ton of effort into making one. And so it's just this whole thing that's not moving forward right now the way that I would love to see it. But
let's switch gears. One last thing that we'll chat about here is Pixel Watch. So we had mentioned that obviously it's going to be debuted next week, but there's some leaks and some information about the bezels being a little bigger than expected, I guess.
It's Google's own marketing materials. It wasn't even a leak. Like, it came out and people kind of were pausing it going,
Oh, was it from the video? The video, yeah.
Like, why is the watch face so little on the middle of that thing? And it did look a little weird. The more, we kind of went back and looked at it, it's like, yeah, that's either just an unfortunate watch face that just has some black space around the edges, or what turned out to be, it looked like just poor rendering on Google's behalf, which is just really goofy.
Yeah.
But I wrote a whole piece, and I don't think it really caught legs much. But as I'm looking at my Fitbit here, if most of the UIs on smartwatches now are all like dark mode for good reason, it's battery saving because all these watches have OLED screens. So it's battery saving, but it also hides the bezels because OLED, the black bezel mixes with the black screen because it's all true black. And so, on this Fitbit I'm looking at, I have the Versa 3 on my arm. The bezels aren't small on this watch, but I literally never think about it because I don't see them.
Yeah. I got to looking at my Galaxy. I mean, they're not tiny on the Galaxy.
No, and most watches just aren't like that. No. They're not even tiny. I wouldn't consider them tiny on the newest Apple watches.
Right.
And especially look at the Apple Watch SE. They're huge.
Yeah.
But it's all hidden because most of the UI doesn't attempt to push white or light colors to the edges of the screen, so it just all kind of bleeds together. You don't notice it. It's not that big of a deal.
Right.
And so my first point was like, if they are a little bigger than you expect, it's probably not that big of a you're probably not going to actually notice it in use. So let's all pump the brakes and wait till we get actual people get hands on and use the thing. I guarantee it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. But then Google re-released that exact same video to their Taiwanese YouTube channel, and side by side the bezels are all rendered to look much smaller, and this was after all this kind of hubbub about them. And so it's clear to me that now that video is full of renders, those are not product images,
and neither one of them are probably accurate.
Right. So maybe the ones from Taiwan, that they've made the bezels look a little smaller than they really are. The one in America, they've made to look a little bigger than they really are. The truth is probably somewhere in between.
Some poor graphics artist who literally worked on that video for 3 months was sitting in his office like, dang it, you idiot.
And probably didn't really think much of it.
Right, yeah. I'm sure it got reviewed and everybody said, yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. But then, the early leak that happened, that guy that got the watch on Reddit and Android Central did the piece with that. If you look, he's got a couple photos of it. The screen's off. It didn't work, obviously. And you can see the bezel. Like if you hold these phones or these screens
in the right
light, you can see it when it glares in there a little bit. And he's got a picture where it's doing that. And I'm like, those bezels are not that big. They're not tiny.
Yeah.
And you honestly wouldn't want them to be, because then the screens are all the way to the edge. You're going to bump this watch on stuff.
And a watch gets dinged on doors.
Right.
And
you need some buffer space. I can't tell you
how many times I've hit my watch on stuff.
Plus, you need some space on the screen to where when you touch the edge to make a swipe action, for instance.
Without...
You're not touching something.
It's going to register a touch as soon as you hit it.
You need a little bit of a bezel. And it's like, looking at those pictures, I'm like, the bezels aren't as big as what they're being portrayed as on this YouTube video. And so, again, I think the truth is somewhere between. We're going to see it in person, and usually with these types of things, once you see it, like I referenced the camera bump on this. Like, we saw these renders, and it's like,
looks so strange.
Oof, that thing is like this big notch sticking out of the top of it.
Big thing on the back of the phone.
And then once you get it in person, you're like, oh, that's not really that big of a deal.
Don't even notice it.
Yeah, and so I think that's kind of what we're going to be dealing with on this. Again, we'll see it on Thursday.
We'll know next week.
Yeah, so we'll be able to be like, hey, the bezels are chonkers, or it'll be like, no, you can't. Yeah. This looks awesome.
And I'm with you. I think having that little bit of bezel on there is a good thing, really. I mean, it's
necessary.
It's necessary. Yeah, it's necessary. So, we'll know more next week.
Yeah, I can't wait to see.
My analog watch has a big bezel on it. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
it's a big watch, though.
I have these dive watches that have...
You got to put the numbers somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
Well, that's what when the early video went around, people were like, well, if they don't use that edge for because Samsung does the touch input around that edge to kind of move around the UI. Well, that's what it's got to be for. I'm like, no,
I think we have that on the Samsung, but I literally never use it.
I use it every once in a while if I'm scrolling through apps or something. But not really.
The couple days I had that Samsung watch, I was like,
yeah. I don't know. Why would you not just sit and touch the screen? I don't know. I'm sure there's.
I would
specific use
prefer to
cases.
have the rotating
crown.
Yeah, instead of
this has got a crown. Like the Pixel Watch has a crown.
It has
on
a
it, so, I mean,
watch-looking crown, which I hope.
Which I think gives you a little bit more when
like
you're dealing with
tactile.
such a small screen. Your
You're
finger
like all
almost
over
kind of
like
feels
whoa,
weird.
I'm at the bottom. Yeah.
Whereas a nice little rotating crown gives you that kind of precision of being able to get through your apps or whatever it is.
Yeah. And we'll save my opinions on the Fitbit Versa 4 for next week.
Got a video coming. So.
Suffice it to say, I thought maybe that would be like, oh, if I don't care for the Pixel Watch that much, this will be my next watch. But I'm real excited for the Pixel Watch.
Is that the first Fitbit that has the like actual Google branding on it like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's all we're going to say.
Okay.
I will say this.
I wasn't in the office yesterday, so I haven't actually gotten the scup from Robbie yet, but I can see it in his eyes.
I say you and I pitch in and we buy Robbie his first analog watch.
I think
I have one.
I think you would like.
No, like a real one.
Yeah.
I've got the really nice, the bourbon barrel.
Watch King.
Watch
King. You said Watch King.
Whatever.
What the heck's that brand?
King.
Well, Original Grain,
which are very nice.
Very nice watch. It's a few
the Moon swatches are down to about $385. So guess what Daddy's buying?
I saw that.
I wore that big watch one day, and I was like, nah.
I don't know. The Moon swatches are interesting. Like there's been some incredible reviews that I've read, and then other people are like, do not buy this watch. Like it's not worth the money.
I won't wear it often.
It's just kind of more of a collector thing.
Someone has on eBay, they have made like a
case with all of them.
Diorama. Is that what that's called? Like a shadow box. It's a shadow box is what it is, but it has like the big long tube that you would put watches on. He has every one of them with all of the original, the paperwork, everything. So they've been open, but they were open and put into the shadow box.
Yeah.
It's only $2,200.
Hey, dude,
which is actually really cheap.
No, it's not bad for all of them. Yeah, I just don't know. There's the blue one that was like rubbing off on people.
Yeah, I want the gray one.
The gray one's sick.
Yeah, so
is that the actual Moon one?
I think that's the Mercury one.
Mercury. What's the Moon one? Is it the blacker, the like gray one? I don't know. Doesn't matter. This is for our separate watch podcast.
Yeah, here are the rails.
The watch
we
cast.
Go. See ya.
We held it together the whole time.
We did. We held it together till the very end. Okay. That's it for this week, I think. Do we have anything else? Next week we'll be
tacos in the oven. Let's go.
Let's go. Next week we'll be chatting. Obviously, probably from New York. I think I've got it set in my mind. This is how we'll do it. We'll just set up some phones,
the phones down, and
set up one camera, and let's rock and roll.
All right.
Okay, cool. Thanks for watching and listening. If you aren't watching, go check out the YouTube channel and get in to win on our giveaway. Do it right now. Yeah. But while you're there,
ring the bell.
Like, subscribe, ring the bell. There you go. Gabe's got it. All right, we'll catch you all next week. See you.